Okay guys, I've got both the Huawei Mate 30 Pro and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and we're using the front-facing camera. This is recording at 1080 30 frames per second because the Huawei only goes to 1080 30 frames per second for its front-facing camera. Just walking down, catching some of that rays. It's the weekend. We'll of course be switching the audio between both, so you can hear how audio sounds on each device. And yeah, now walking towards the sunlight. Let's start this video. Oh, so starting off with the front-facing camera, you can see the iPhone does a really good job here keeping my skin tone and also giving just nice bokeh effect around the image. Now the bokeh effect on the Mate 30 Pro is okay, but you can see it's really dulled down my image and making me look much lighter than I look. But this is not something that is totally systemic of the Mate 30 Pro. As we move over to this image, we see here that both cameras have kind of failed with the front-facing shot. Where we are facing direct sunlight, the iPhone has saturated this, at least my face, not the image, and trying to compensate with what the sunlight is doing, while the Huawei basically has just gone the opposite direction. Bokeh is nice on both, but I think this is just a nice example showing you that, yeah, you can still have some failures here with these kind of cameras. This next shot here is where the Huawei does a better job, but now it's making me more red. Like I've been out in the sun for a little bit, and the iPhone has got a much better balance overall. I will say though that the Huawei's got a better shot on my shirt. That's the exact color of my shirt, while the iPhone isn't. So again, it's back and forth, but the bokeh is really nice on what the iPhone has done, and I think the iPhone image is still overall better than what the Huawei image is for the front-facing camera. So looking at this shot at direct sunlight, the Mate 30 Pro does a really good job of just highlighting the buildings. It's a much better image than what the iPhone does. iPhone is nice, but the Mate 30 gives just detailed texture to the image. Though the iPhone just captured the sun a little bit better, but I definitely love the image from the Mate 30 Pro. It's very vibrant and punchy image, but also really clear and sharp. Now when we move over to the wide angle lens, the Mate 30 Pro image is much punchier, but also gives you more detail, and I can see more, and it's going over towards the yellower hue, if you will, while the iPhone is a bit flat in terms of this hue, and also it's darker in certain locations, so I can't see the backyard there. But the iPhone wide angle lens is much wider, gives me a wider berth, but I can't see as much as I like to see. Now moving over to the shots at night, this is using the AI mode of the Mate 30 Pro. The iPhone image is brighter. It is a brighter image than the Mate 30 Pro image, but the Mate 30 Pro I think is sharper, and I can see more details in the background of this image, so the bottles at the back and things like that. But I think both images are good. Now this second image here really shows you the difference in lighting philosophy. iPhone adds a lot of light to this. It feels like there's an extra light source where that candle is, while the candle representation on the Mate 30 Pro is much more to accurate point. And the image, I prefer the image on the Mate 30 Pro because you can still see the color texture of the watch, and also keeps a really nice tone, but the iPhone image is definitely brighter. Here's a shot outside, and I like what the iPhone has done here, a much brighter image as opposed to what the Mate 30 Pro AI mode here has done, where the item in the image here on the iPhone just is brighter. The whole scene is brighter compared to the Mate 30 Pro, which is bright but still feels like you're shooting at night. The iPhone has just more light coming in, or at least it feels like there's more light coming in towards the right, filling up the space. Now this shot here is one interesting shot because this is a really dark scene, and I like what both cameras have done. They highlighted the tree well. They also showed the leaves quite accurately. I do like what the Mate 30 Pro has done with the berries, or at least those things that look like berries anyway, on the trees, highlighting a bit more, and also the fence itself has a bit more texture to it than what the iPhone is doing at this point. Now, this is these couple of shots are just showing all the different lenses. This is the main lens on both cameras. The iPhone is moving towards the yellower hue, while the Mate is going towards more of the lighter, or at least the whiter spectrum. And both images are good. There's really nothing wrong. I think this may be a bit more of a preference. I do like what the Mate 30 Pro does, because it looks, certain parts of the images, like the buildings in the foreground, look really brighter, and I can see those buildings. I can still see the lighting in there, as opposed to the darker look on the iPhone, and then of course the yellower hue all around the image. Now when we go into the zoom lens, this is a 2x zoom for both devices. Again, same concept. The Mate 30 Pro is making it brighter, so the buildings look brighter, and then the background with the New York skyline also is brighter. It's trying to sharpen that, but it's a little fuzzy. Both of them are trying to do it. I would say the Mate 30 Pro image is better because there's less it's brighter, there's less fuss, and also the images are clearer. Now, wide angle lens. This is where Apple completely failed for whatever reason, and there is no night mode in the wide angle lens, but you guys can clearly see here the Mate 30 Pro gives you its wide angle shot, not as wide as the iPhone, but you can clearly see everything in the image. The iPhone shot looks like it's taking a nice shot in darkness and showing you some lights in buildings. If there were no lights in those buildings, we wouldn't see anything in the shot. So the Mate 30 Pro has done a really good job in that image. Now, I added the night mode shot here for this, and this is, of course, this is Manhattan Bridge. We're looking at a couple of images here. The iPhone does a good job in highlighting the bridge. The underneath texture is a bit visible. You can see the lighting across the bridge. Everything looks good. I do like that image. The AI mode on the Mate 30 Pro, I think, is much sharper than the iPhone's. You can see the ripple effects of the water. You can also see the lighting on the bridge, but underneath the bridge is not as visible. It's actually rather dark compared to the iPhone. I do like the night skyscape on the AI mode here. Now, the night mode, I think, is the best image of all three on the Mate 30 Pro. It's much brighter in all scenes, so underneath the bridge is clearly visible. You can see all the lighting across the bridge as well. You can see the ripple effects in the water. It's not as intense as the AI mode, but I think this image really captures the most of all three. But again, really solid images altogether, and I'm impressed with what the iPhone has been doing with this night mode. Now, we have a photo here of Uncle Danny, and he's standing here. This scene was actually was dark. I would say it's pretty dark in general, and as you can see with each image here, they've all brightened the scene up, so you can clearly see Danny standing up there. You can see his shoes, they come out well. The iPhone is going over towards the yellower hue, so what you have here is that Danny's skin tone has a little bit more saturation, and the leaves also have more saturation to them, while the Mate 30 Pro is going to merge to the whiter hue, so it's a little bit more flat in terms of color. And the Mate 30 Pro night mode really brightens up the scene. If you look around Danny's legs, in the iPhone, it's a bit darker. You can see the shadow kind of cuts in through. The AI mode is a little bit brighter, and the Mate 30 Pro night mode is the brightest and really highlights. So you can see the different stages of each image and what they do with actually lighting. But I'm quite impressed. I think all three do a good job, and you will not be remiss by using any one. I think the night mode on the Mate 30 Pro is a little bit better, but it's still quite solid images across the board. So we're recording here 4K 60. Again, the same path, similar, and you're walking. And you can see it's different between color saturation, stabilization, of course, and what both cameras do. Of course, audio is switching between two, and then we're going to run. Not what like Saf did. Saf didn't like John. Sorry, buddy. Now we're going to run. Yeah. So that was a run, guys. 3, 2, 1, go. So looking at both images from the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the Mate 30 Pro, they do a good job in night mode, while the iPhone of course does a much better job with portrait photos during the daytime. But night mode, I think, is where of course we focus more on this video, that they both do a really good job. The dedicated night mode on the Mate 30 Pro, I think, is a little bit more enhanced and you can get better photos from there. But if you're an iPhone user and you're picking up the 11 Pro Max, you are doing very well. And if you're an Android user and you want to step up to the Mate 30 Pro, this is definitely a solid device for of course night mode photos. Now both cameras have extra features. You got slow fees for the iPhone, basically slow motion photo videos on the front facing camera, and the Huawei Mate 30 Pro does 7,680 frames per second slow motion, which is insanely good for anyone who wants to do slow motion photography or video. Well guys, there you have it. I think both are really solid cameras, and I want you to tell me what you think in terms of photos you've seen in this video. Who do you think is better? If you have any questions or any comments, let me know. Don't forget to like and share this video, favorite this video, subscribe to the channel, and always enjoy your entertainment.